Hello, fellow teachers. My name is Esther, and I'm with English Going. In today's video, I'm going to discuss tips for teaching the Lions module. The Lions module focuses on speaking skills, with emphasis on using the correct verb in different tenses. In this video, I'm going to use a whiteboard and a marker. So I would definitely recommend that you try and use this as much as possible in the Lines module. Alternatively, you can also just use a pen and paper, which also works fine. So my first tip for teaching conversation lessons is to make your student feel as comfortable as possible. You can do this by using a warmer, which is a short little time in the beginning of your lesson in which you can ask questions, you can ask them about their day, or even play games. Tip number 2, have open conversations. This helps build a connection with your student and helps them to book with you again, but also encourages them to share their ideas, thoughts, and it's always important to be as respectful as you can when they open their hearts and share their ideas with you, and encourage them to speak as much as possible. Tip number 3, ask questions. After each section or each activity, I like to pause and just say, do you have any questions? This really helps shy students or students who might not feel comfortable interrupting the teacher as the lesson goes by. So if you create these moments for them, it's much easier for them to say if they don't understand a word or if they have a certain question. Tip number 4, be flexible. It really helps to encourage students to talk when they are interested in a certain topic. So if there's a certain event or a news article or anything specific that they would like to talk about, entertain this topic for a few minutes and then subtly steer them back to the main topic of the lesson. And then our last tip, number 5, is to compliment and then correct. This is very important, especially with adult students or more advanced learners. Sometimes they also need positive reinforcement. So compliment them. So for example, say, hi John, I am so proud of your improvement with fluency. Or good job, Susan, you have really started to speak in fuller sentences. So any compliment would be great before you correct a student. So let's dive in. The topic for today is my favorite movie. At the beginning of this lesson, you will have lesson goals. This is a lovely opportunity for you to encourage your student to read, which you can also focus on pronunciation and certain words that they might not be familiar about. It's very important that the student understands what the lesson goals are for them to also feel like they have achieved success at the end of the lesson. The first part of the Lions module, lesson 1, is a dialogue practice. In this section of the lesson, you are going to ask various of questions, and you are going to let them speak as much as possible. Don't correct them too much in this part of the lesson, as we will have a review at the end of this. What I want you to focus on in this part is just certain words that they might not be familiar with, like cinema, for example, and especially different movie genres. What I like to do is to take different video clips, even photos from Google, to really make sure that they understand what the meaning of each of these genres is. You will just go on and let them expand as much as possible, ask prompting questions for them to expand even more. While the student is speaking, use your whiteboard and make notes on it, as you will use this on the next slide. At the end of this activity, this is a nice visual reminder to just encourage them, give them some positive feedback, and tell them they're doing a great job. Then we will have a dialogue review. In this part of the lesson, you are going to review areas in which the student can improve. But remember, as I said previously, try to first say something positive, that you can see that they maybe tried hard or that they have spoken fluently. And then go over some of the sentence structures, phrases, and have a look at the verb in different tenses. So what I usually do is I just write it out as they are speaking, and then I would say, let's say, for example, the student used the wrong verb. So in the sentence, I see movie yesterday. See. What do you think the correct verb would be for see in the sentence? It's important to show them different keywords that show different tenses. So for example, the word yesterday shows past tense. And then ask them to think what the correct answer be. A lot of the times they will come up with a solution by themselves, and this is excellent for them to be fluent in conversations as well. The second point would be a word like setting. The meaning of setting is a place where a movie was shot, or you can find your own examples with each student. You can spend about 2 minutes reviewing this section. The next part would be a monologue. You will want to do a brainstorming type of activity, or even allow the student to draw a mind map with different key elements that they want to focus on. So these would be the application of the review that you just had, and just remind them to think about what they would like to change or what they would like to include in their conversation. You can spend about 2 to 4 minutes on this activity. These questions were the same as what was previously asked, so it's a nice way to just repeat and practice one more time. You will follow the same pattern with number 2. If you see that the thought process is in motion and that they're doing fine, you don't need to draw a mind map again for them to organize their thoughts. But I just like to ask them verbally what they would like to change, and maybe they would just mention a few things. You can also give them guidance in this area. So for this part of the lesson as well, you want them to speak on this topic independently. So you can ask the question and ask them to respond in full sentences. And then part 3, you'll have the same structure, organize their thoughts, and then let them speak regarding different sentences. So also remember to just continually make sure that they understand what the question is, and that they also understand all the words or new vocabulary. Good job. You can just praise them one more time and make a fuss of them. Even adults enjoy that. At the end of this lesson, you're going to do a monologue review. In this part, you would have also used your whiteboard to just bring their attention to any words that they might not have said correctly, or certain verbs, sentence structures, and just go over some of the questions that they had difficulty with. And you can spend about 2 to 4 minutes reviewing this topic. It's also very important to just make sure that your student is feeling upbeat and that they are enjoying the lesson as much as possible as you go on. I find if it's the end of the lesson and I have some extra time, I would play a short video clip on a current movie or even a short trailer, and we can just expand our conversation about movies a bit longer. And that is the end of my video review of the Lions module. I hope you enjoyed it, and good luck with your teaching, and may you have many happy hours. Thank you. See you again. Goodbye.